Hey, welcome back to Bill's Workbench. I put an aerial, an antenna, if you will, on my MN99s version 2. Why? Because I didn't like the hole that was there. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to 3D print this piece right here. You could fill this in with putty or super glue with baking soda. That would work too. But what fun is that, right? So I'm going to show you how to design and build this little piece to go inside of the MN99/98, and it will work in the version 1 and the version 2 or 3 and 4 depending on which version numbers you want to count. And this is also screwed in with a screw so you can remove it should you want to remove it. That's one of the reasons I printed it instead of just fill it in with super glue. After it dries a bit, a couple days, I'm going to paint it with some black paint and it will look even better. So yeah. So sit back and relax, and let's learn some LibreCAD as we design this part. I have my drills out here because that's what we're going to use to measure this little hole. Let's get that measured. I want to get the diameter of that measured first. So 4 mil, a little loose. Let's go to 5. 5 works well. That fits in there. Will 5.5 work? No. 5.5 is too large. So 5 millimeter it is. So that is how big we are going to make that piece in diameter. Let's get it drawn up. So our piece, our top view is going to be a circle, obviously. And it's going to be 5 millimeters in diameter. Now the depth. The depth I want to figure out, how deep is it going to be altogether? So how deep is it? I've got it at the, not quite that deep. It is 9.6, I would say. So 9.6. So that is this piece like this. It's going to have a little bit of an angle here. Goes down, and that is 9.6 millimeters. And then the small part here, that is 2.5 mil. So the distance from here to here is 2.5 millimeters. So is that the only thing I need to measure? That is about it. When I look in the bottom of this hole, though, I discovered that there is a hole in there, so we can screw this thing in there if we want. So that is good. So we've got a hole in there. And what size is it? Let's see if a 2.5 millimeter will fit in there. And yes, 2.5 millimeter will fit. So that is a M2.5 bolt that's going to go in there, and that'll lock it into place. And then I'm going to have another little hole in here that is going to be 1 millimeter, and that's going to be for this metal piece for the antenna. All right, I've got it all drawn up. Let's head over to LibreCAD and get that drawn in. Why am I using LibreCAD? Well, because the Autodesk licenses are too damn much money, and the LibreCAD is affordable. So that's why I'm going to that now. And it's not too bad. I like it a little bit better than the Fusion 3D or Fusion 360. In fact, I like it a lot better. I can understand it. Fusion 360 I just can't get my head around. AutoCAD, I can do this in my sleep, but you know, I need to learn something new. So let's head over to LibreCAD. We can figure it out together. Here we are in LibreAtom 3D. I've already drawn this thing up because I recorded this without audio like an idiot. But that's okay because, you know, things happen. LibreAtom 3D is plain base modeling. I don't have any Boolean features. Boolean allows me to draw in a box around in this area and subtract it. So I could draw a box rotate it, and subtract it. I can't do that with a Libre Atom. What I have to do is create a plane to draw in a rectangle, this red rectangle here. Then I can extrude a cut, and then it cuts it. Also, the extrusion of this is a little bit funky, but it works, and I'm going to show you how I did it. Is this the best way to do it? Probably not, but this is the way that I did it. So let's begin a new file, a new part, and we're going to check our properties to make sure the setting that I set for millimeters is there. After I set it from inches to millimeters, I clicked this right here, this bottom guy, and that allowed me to save that setting so I didn't have to go back and change it all the time, which is good. All right, so if I click on this front, let's see, now I want to do top right. I want to be like that because that's how I am used to seeing the world, front, right, top. So this is my plane that I'm going to be drawing on. So I want to activate a sketch. I'll pick this plane right here, and we're going to draw in the circle or the body of our part. So we'll draw a circle, and I'll draw it from the center out 5 millimeters. Libre asks for diameter by default, so I put in 5 because that's what the diameter is. You can see the little circle with the slash through it. That is the symbol for diameter. I'll go ahead and deactivate the sketch, and then I'm going to extrude this, and I'm going to extrude it, let's extrude it 9 mil for now, and we'll say OK. Now the extrusion is going to be a little bit weird and funky to start because I need to get this other plane at this 22.5 degree angle right here. And when I do that, I want part of it to be above it and part of it to be below it. I need 2.5 millimeters above the plane, and below it, well, it needs to be whatever it is. So let's go and grab this box and rotate it like that so I can see what's going on. I have my axis right here. I'm going to need to know that, and I'm going to need to know the plane right here in order to draw in a new plane. So we'll pick on plane. I want to do this kind of plane, which is a rotation plane, and I want this plane as my reference, and I want that, let's see, I want this axis, the z-axis. See how the different blues pop up? So I want the z-axis, and then I want 22.5 as my angle, and then I'll apply. And now I have this new plane created right here. And that's the plane I can draw my box on. Before I do that, I want to get the cylinder all set up. I want to move this plane up in my features list so that it's at the top. If I don't move the plane up to the top in the features list, when I go to draw in the next extrusion, the plane disappears. Or if I edit, the plane disappears. So I want that at the top. And I'm going to right click on my extrusion and pick edit. And I want to change this from to depth to dual depth. Now that I've got dual depth, I can grab this guy and move it down so that it's in line with that, which is 1 millimeter. And then I'm going to drag this down so that it's 8.6 millimeters. There. Now I've got my cylinder, my 5 millimeter cylinder, exactly where I want it to be. I'm holding the wheel on the mouse button down, or the third click, in order to pan. I'll hit OK. And now we're going to go into my 3D view. There it is. There's my plane. So I'm going to go ahead and create another sketch. And I'm going to pick this plane, and I'm going to draw in a rectangle. It doesn't matter the size of the rectangle. So I'll draw my rectangle right there. I'll deactivate the sketch. I'll click on that right there. We will do an extrusion underneath cut or above cut, extrusion. And I want to do this sketch. I can pick the sketch here, that's easier. And then I want that to go up. So, is that working? Yes, that worked the way I wanted it to work. We'll go to front view and see what we've got. That looks good. It did my subtraction right on the face, right where I want it to go. Yay! So I'll say OK. So now I've got that done. Now I'm ready to draw in my two holes. I want one hole on the bottom, that's 2.5 millimeters in diameter. And I want one hole on the top, that's a 1 millimeter in diameter. That 1 millimeter in diameter is a little bit small for the 1 millimeter antenna that we're going to put in there, or the little still thing. But we get it hot, we can push it through the plastic, and then it goes in just right. So that's what we're going to do. So first we're going to draw in our screw. So we will activate a 2D sketch. And I want this plane right here. I can pick a plane on top of an object in order to draw, if I would like. I'll draw in a circle. I'll start it here, and 2.5 millimeters. I found that putting the actual size of the screw thread works well in 3D printing because I self-tap, which means I let the screw tap itself in there, and 2.5 works perfect. So we will deactivate the sketch. We will go ahead and do this extrusion, and I need to see it in order to see what I'm doing. It's going to be 3.6 millimeters up there. I want that to be a little bit higher, so I'll drag that up to about, we'll say 6.5 millimeters. How much room do we have left? That's good. That should give me enough room. I'll go ahead and say OK. And let's see if I can see the subtraction. Sometimes you can't. Oh, that's great. If you can't see the subtraction, then you'd have to do that double method that we did for this in order to see it, because it's subtracted on the inside. So now what we want to do is draw another circle that goes all the way through. So we're going to activate a sketch again. We're going to click the same spot because I can't click on the top because that's at an angle. I want my antenna to go straight up. So I'm going to pick the bottom. I'll draw another circle. From there, I'll do 1 mil, or 1 millimeter, and then I'll say deactivate sketch. We will go back out a little bit in the 3D world like that, and we will do another cut. And this time I want this to go all the way up, and then I'll say OK. So now you can see that's cut all the way through, and I can see it at the bottom too. So there we go. There's my part. I have it drawn up exactly the way I want it to be. So now we'll save our work because that's always a good thing to do. And I'm going to save this over the top of that antenna, and we'll call it antenna 2. And I'll say save. And now we're going to export this to STL. When we export this to STL, that's what our 3D printer will read, our little bamboo printer. So we'll pick STL, and we'll call it antenna 2. That's fine. We'll hit save. And I accept the defaults on this, so just OK. And now I have an STL file. Close all of these. There is my antenna 2 STL file. So now I want to open this in the Bamboo Studio. I right-clicked on it. And let it do its thing. Whenever I print things for a crawler or anything RC that goes outside, I use PETG as my filament type. Because here in Las Vegas, where it gets pretty darn hot, PLA melts. And I don't want that. Ain't nobody got time for melting stuff. So I'm scrolling the mouse and I'm holding the button down to pan. I can hold both buttons down just like in Libre to orbit, and that's good. So I need to get this so it's upright. So I'm going to use this guy, lay on face, and I'll click the face that I want it on, and there we go. Now it's all ready for me to print. I will pick which thing I'm using. I'm using generic PETG. I am picking which process I want to use, and I print everything in draft or strength mode. Draft if it's my first one, strength if I need it strong. So we'll pick strength in this case. And then we'll print. That will then tell you how long it's going to take to print. It's going to take 8 minutes to print. It's going to take 5 minutes just to get the bed lined up and ready to go. It puts a raft around it, which is good for a small piece. Then you just hit print plate and you're done. And it prints it out. So let's hop over to the workbench and get this thing installed. So here's version or 0.2. It has a hole in the top. I'm going to have to get it warm to get that piece in there, but that's okay. I knew that. And I've got the hole in the bottom as well. So let's see if the screw goes in there. Before we get all excited about other things. Yes, that is good. How's it fit? It fits a little proud, which is good. That's what we wanted, right? We wanted to sand it so that it looked better. So let's do that. I got my sandpaper right here. All right, and now let's see if this piece fits in there. I am going to have to get that warm and push it in. Okay, we can do that. I have something to do that. And I want to get this out of the way. I don't melt it, because that would make me sad. There's that. Is that going to hold up by itself? Yes. Would it hold up when I push this against it? Yes. Alright, so we will get this going. Get that warm. There we go. That's all it took. A little ingenuity. So I got that sanded, I've got the hole in there. Yeah, that's still good. All right, we are ready to rumble. I'm going to thread this in here first, all the way, so that it goes in easy. There we go. Nice. Go in here like so. And then we will cut it. I'm going to cut it about that far, I think. Then I'm going to use glue to glue that in. Okay. Voila. Yeah, look at that. Now I have a antenna. I probably will paint it black. I think that'll look better. So I will use the old Tester's enamel paint and paint it black. And then we'll be done. There we go. We have an antenna now inside of that hole that I think looks better. And hope you do too. Let me know your thoughts. I don't know how well it's going to last. It'll probably bend and break, but that's okay. It's screwed in. I can print another one and find something else that would work better. Who knows? We don't know until we try, right? Okay, well, thanks for watching. I hope you like this. Yeah, so let me know what you think. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up. If you didn't like it, hit that thumbs down button twice. That way you tell me, you really didn't like it. Well, yeah, there you go. Have fun. Happy crawling.